What if I told you that there is a path that you can choose to take that leads to you suddenly feeling a magnitude of love that is beyond comprehension? A love and acceptance for yourself that you've never experienced before, an immense appreciation for others, and even absolute forgiveness and detachment from those who may have hurt you in the past. And no, this does not involve any drugs or any external substances or anybody doing this to you. You get to do this yourself with your own mind. I was lucky to experience this when I went to Joe Dispenza's week-long advanced retreat. But I want to point out that it's not just because I went to the retreat that this happened. It happened because I proactively challenged my own mind, and I did this one mind trick that I'm about to share with you, that without me even realizing I was doing this, it led me into making my very first quantum leap of consciousness. So my hope is that by sharing this with you, it inspires you to try this in your own life so that you can up-level your frequency to a higher love and ultimately find your inner peace. My name is Talia, I am a modern mystic, and my life's purpose is to help people just like you transcend your self-limiting beliefs so that you can rise into your highest and most magnetic self. If that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to subscribe. So I want to start with a little bit of background. So in a previous video, I talked about how I made a quantum jump very recently. In this video, I want to talk about the very first one that I ever did, and that was at Joe Dispenza's week-long retreat. And I think that this was really the time that kick-started and accelerated my spiritual growth. And so in the past couple of years, I've been having these expansions of consciousness very frequently. To start off, the reason I decided to even go to Joe Dispenza in the first place is because for many years, I've struggled with episodes of depression and anxiety. I had been feeling stuck in a job that I didn't like. I knew that I wanted to do something for the world, something with spirituality, and I just didn't know what to do. I had also been seeing someone that, yet again, was not ready for a relationship. So I was like, I keep attracting the same person. Like I realized, like, this is a pattern. I need to do something to change this. There is something that is keeping me from living the life that I really want to live. And so the previous year, I had picked up this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, which I really enjoyed. If you don't know Joe Dispenza, I highly recommend you start with this book. And I met this spiritual guide that had recently been to his retreat, and she talked wonders about it. And I was like, hey, might as well try something different, right? Try to go into a retreat and maybe I can go inwards a little more and figure out how I can unblock myself. So I get there. The first couple of days, I'm sitting in meditation, and all I can think about is, I can't stand this guy's voice. His voice is really awkward. It's like, wow, wow. He's doing it on purpose, apparently, to synchronize your brain waves to a specific frequency. But either way, I was like, oh my God, I have a whole week of this now. And then you also find out that during meditation, there's people screaming, there's people coughing, there's all kinds of noises. Mind you, there's 2,000 people in one room at the same time. So if you thought that meditation was all about sitting quietly in your room and, calming down your mind, no, it's about training your mind to settle, to calm down, regardless of what's going on the outside. So the first days were really, really challenging. And you get there and you also go like, whoa, are they having breakthroughs right now? Like, why am I not having my own breakthrough? What's going on? So there's a lot of things that are going on in your mind that you kind of have to observe and learn to just be okay with. So by the fourth day, I was at a point where I was more okay with the screaming, and I was getting used to meditating for about an hour or more. It was about an hour and a half every meditation. That was another part that I really needed to transcend, because before that, I would not be able to meditate for more than 20 minutes all by myself. So here I am sitting in meditation. And one of the other things that has always really bothered me and was really difficult for me was sitting down for too long. It's not really comfortable to sit cross-legged because eventually your feet get numb. But for some reason, this time, when I'm about 20 minutes sitting into my meditation, I start to notice my feet are getting numb. And I'm like, fuck, there it goes again. And I have this insight where I'm like, what if I don't move my feet? What if I don't try to get comfortable? What if I just observe the pain? And so that's what I start doing. I just sit there, I observe the pain. I can feel my feet getting number and number, and the pain is growing and growing. And I'm like, I am not gonna move. I am not gonna move. And then all of a sudden, my hands start moving by themselves, involuntary movements, and they go like this. And once I do this, I start seeing a light form in front of me. This beautiful yellow light that it's like a giant star or aura forming in front of me. and then it starts becoming whiter and brighter, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, I've never seen this before. I've never experienced anything like this. And then I also start realizing that the pain is kind of there, but it's not really bothering me anymore. It's just there. Has it ever happened to you that you're hungry and you're so hungry and so hungry, and then for some reason you don't get to eat, and then it gets to a point where you're like not hungry anymore because you just kind of overcame that part? Well, it was kind of like that. So as I'm watching this light, I'm freaking out. I'm like, whoa, something's going on. And then the light goes away, and then I start having these little visions, like images coming in and out. And I'm like, am I seeing stuff now? What? Like, am I imagining this? What's going on? I had never experienced anything like this. All I can say is that after the meditation was done, I was drained of energy, drained. I went outside, I laid down on the grass, and people would come up to me, and I was like, I have no energy. And then that night, I go back to the hotel, and I wake up at around 2 a.m. and my body is electrified. It's like I'm plugged to the wall. I can feel the current just vibrating all over my body, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, I knew that there was something, like I felt charged of energy, and it was so powerful that I could hear the sound of the energy. I could hear the zzz. So anyway, I just let myself go back to sleep, and the next day, I have so much energy. I am euphoric. And now every meditation that we would have, I would see the same light again, and I would have visions, and it was so clear that I started even drawing them on a journal. Here's my journal from the retreat. You can see in the beginning it was kind of like notes, from the slides, and then all of a sudden I start drawing things, and then the drawings get crazier, crazier and way more detailed. I'm seeing doors and portals and lights and little angels, like frogs and spaceships. I don't know. This is all the stuff that was coming up in my visions. But what was especially cool about this is that I would sit and draw these during lunchtime. So there were people that would come up to me and be like, oh my God, I saw that too. And then I was like, what the fuck? Like we're all connected and we're seeing similar things. Or I guess these entities are just in the same room as all of us. But the truly important thing about what happened here was the feeling that I got. I felt so in love with the world, with everybody. I all of a sudden felt capable of doing anything that I could ever possibly want. I had full confidence, trust, and love for myself and my own abilities. I had so much love for others and appreciation. And it was so interesting because, as I mentioned, I had been seeing someone before going to the retreat, and I had ended up really hurt after that relationship. And then now I'm like, I cannot find that sadness, that hurt, that resentment. I cannot find it in me. Not only that, it's like now I understood what happened. I understood that he was trying his best and I was trying my best, but the level of consciousness that we had at the time was just not evolved enough to help us override our fears and then be able to truly make this work. So after the retreat, I kept this feeling with me for about 2.5 months. And of course, I thought I would stay like that forever. I felt invincible, I felt so happy, but the happily ever after isn't exactly the case for us humans in planet Earth. After a couple months, my meditation consistency started dropping a little bit. And keep in mind, at the retreat, I was meditating for 3 times a day for about an hour and a half with 2,000 people in the same room. After the retreat, I was meditating for an hour, 5 to 6 days a week, and then a little less. So naturally, that euphoric feeling, that connectedness started dwindling down as my spiritual practices started taking less priority during my day-to-day. And so a few months later, life happens and there's all these ups and downs. So I say to myself, I'm gonna go a second time because I'm chasing that feeling again. So I went a second time, and guess what? It didn't happen. Interestingly, it happened to me again about 2 months later when I was in a situation with somebody that I was dating. It was kind of random. I wasn't expecting that to happen, but I made a different decision, and all of a sudden, that feeling came on to me again, that alignment, that love. If you're interested in hearing how that one happened, make sure to watch my other video linked below. So the takeaway for you here is that these breakthroughs don't generally happen when you expect them to happen. I expected them to happen when I did plant medicine like 3 different times, when I did hypnosis sessions or Reiki sessions. they didn't happen. I probably healed something out of all of these instances, but it wasn't like a full-on quantum jump where your energy is just taken to a whole different level and you know that this has been a massive shift in your energy. So while you can't control exactly when your breakthroughs will happen, what you can control is becoming so self-aware that you can observe yourself when you're feeling an uncomfortable emotion and then proactively get yourself out of your comfort zone. Because if there's something that is making you uncomfortable, that is making you angry or scared, that is exactly where you need to be looking deeply and doing the work. This is where you need to challenge yourself. This is the opportunity to break that old pattern of thinking. And there's many ways that you can do it, but the way I'm describing here is to observe the discomfort from a detached standpoint without judgment, and that way eventually you'll be able to transcend it. And the lesson that I got after the first retreat is that you're super conscious and committed to sustaining that practice of observing and not attaching to your emotions. Because I would say I just kind of fell back into my old patterns and then I was chasing the feeling again, and it's kind of one of the first things that they teach you in this world of spirituality, to not look for that emotion on the outside. It comes from the inside. So make sure you don't go unconscious and then you keep being the observant of your personality. This really cool metaphor came to me the other day because I was thinking about this and I thought about the game Mario Bros and how, he's in a certain level and he's running around and like trying to beat all these different monsters along the way, and sometimes it gets even harder, but he's going at it and he's beating them. And then the whole point is that once he does it enough times, he gets to the end, and only then he's able to up level. He now unlocks the next level. So it's kind of similar. It's not that you do it once. You conquered your monster once and then you're good. No, you have to keep doing it. The reason you have to keep doing it is because it has to become who you are. It has to become a new pattern, a new habit in you, and that you've done it so many times that it finally feeds into your subconscious mind. And so now it just comes naturally. It's kind of like riding a bicycle. In the beginning, you're kind of trying to figure it out. You have to maneuver different things, but then eventually it's just natural and you never forget. It's like you pick it up and you just go. You're not thinking about how to pedal or how to coordinate. You're just doing it. It's who you are. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to watch my next video if you want to hear more about quantum jumping. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you so much. Much love.